So this is actually hard.
I think it can be. I really think it can be, especially when you don't know your formulas and you don't understand the content without cramming. That's where I think they will catch you out very nicely.
And dividend policy,
Dividend policy is not bad. I think,
I started doing that.
yeah. But this is very theory heavy, I think. Yeah.
But
So,
it seems like it's like going back to, I don't know, people doing the second year when it's for management accounts.
no, this is more finance, to be honest with you. Management accounting is kind of an offshoot of accounting. So yeah, I think this is much better if you ask me. It's closer to finance because finance is actually ratios and interpretation of financial statements. That's what you're doing, you see. So management accounting, you are there, you are really doing cost accounting, the cost of this product, the cost of that, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not my favorite cup of tea, but we do what we have to do. We do what we have to do.
Is it 4.4?
No, now we're doing 4.6. This is the last exercise for today. Right. So 4.6, last exercise for the day, and last exercise for learning unit 4. So what's going on over here? Under the required, they say calculate the net benefit or cost of the proposed changes in the trade receivables policy. Comment on your findings. Then it says calculate on the net benefit or cost of the bulk discount offered by the supplier. Comment on your findings. Okay, so this learning unit, I think I now get what you were saying earlier. It is somewhat close to what we were doing in second year in terms of calculating the benefit or the loss, or should we actually buy this or not, that type of thing. So it is kind of connected to that. But the good part is working capital is more of a finance concept. Yeah. But yeah, I now clicked what you were saying. So here it says CPO Limited is a company that trades mostly electronically over the internet. Mostly trades electronically over the internet. In the 2004 year, the company generated sales of 14,500,000, with all sales being made over a normal credit period of 30 days. So that was our annual sales generated. Extracts from the company's 2004 statement of financial position show balances as follows. Trade receivables, 2.5 million. Trade payables, 2.2 million. To encourage customers to pay on time, the company is considering introducing an early settlement discount of 2% for payment within 30 days and extending the normal credit period to 45 days. It is expected that on average, 60% of the customers are expected to pay within 60 days, 30% within 45 days, and 10% within 60 days. The company's current cost of investment in accounts receivable is 10%. Okay? So it then goes on to say CPO currently offers 14,500 units per month of wedge X. The demand for wedge X is constant. There is only one supplier of the wedge, and the company made a total of 525,000 in purchases in the last year. The supplier has offered a 1.5% discount for orders of wedge X for 29,000 wedges or more. So basically, they're then saying, you guys order 14,500 wages every time you make an order, but what we are willing to offer you a discount of 2% if, so not 2%, but 1.5% if you order 29,000 units of a wage X at a time. The cost per order is 145 Rand, and the holding cost per unit per year is 0.25 cents. There are 365 days in a year. Okay, right. So that's all the information that we have. Did I hit the, oh yes, I did. Right. So first thing they ask us to do there, calculate the net benefit or cost of the proposed changes in the trade receivables policy. Comment on your findings. So, impact on cost of investment in accounts receivable. So, what you want to do here is firstly, investment in accounts receivables, they told us on the current policy, is how much we have in accounts receivable. And they gave us that for trade receivables. That's the 2.5 million that came from your extracted balance sheet. So what are our accounts receivables on the changed policy, right? We then say, okay, cool. We know that per year we have 14,500,000 sales, okay, all of which are on credit, isn't it? Okay, so then we say, okay, but we need to turn that into daily sales. So divided by 365, right, to get daily sales, right? And then we need to times that. Let's put this in brackets. This is going to give us our daily sales. We're actually going to use this for all of these ones. So might as well copy that now and paste and paste. And then, but we're saying, hey, for the first 30 days, so we're going to say times 30, all right? But then we know that's only 60% of our credit sales, huh? Because they said 60% of the customers are going to pay within 30 days. Okay. Is there anything else that we are missing? I think that's it. So what do we get? Yep. We get this 700 and ish. I think they did their answers to the nearest rand, if I'm not mistaken. So let's do that as well. Okay, so 715. And here we're doing the same thing, but now we're doing it on 45 days, isn't it? And what was the percentage of people who will take up that option? 30. And take note, in the back of your textbook, they do this calculation differently. But I wanted to explain also the logic of how they're getting their figures. Because I think the way they do it mathematically, we get to the same amounts, but for you to understand what's actually happening, I think it's a bit more confusing. Okay. And then here, the last one, times how many days? 60. Times 0.10, isn't. Okay. So now if you add up those amounts, right, you should then get to this amount here. of 1,489,725. Okay. Right. And then at that point, we then say, okay, there's actually a decrease in the investment into our accounts receivables. Okay. So let's calculate the difference between A and B. Why is it doing this thing of creating other tables? A minus B gives you what? Mm-hmm.
10,000.
Mm-hmm. 275. So let me do this. I say equal. And then we have to take this amount, right? Because remember, we're saying the impact on cost. So we then now need to say times our interest rate, isn't? To find out, okay, what is going to be the actual interest decrease in this case? Because what? We've spent less, we've invested less. So our decrease is actually going to be 101,021 Rand and 50 cents. Okay. That's going to be the decrease in our interest. Okay, so we've sorted that out. Then what is the impact on cash discount? Is this on cash discount? Okay, yes, okay. So first things first, what are the sales? Yes, 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 yes. I think you are right, sir. Want to see something quickly? So we are then saying this right here, isn't? Because it's only them that get the discount. Why now is it doing this? What do you guys get when you times this? Oh, yes, we actually need to do that. Sorry. I don't know why I just didn't click, but there was no reason to leave out the 0.6 because it's only 60%, isn't it? Yeah. So I actually could have just done this. I could have just copied this amount right there. I'm making my life difficult. Okay, so we have that, and then we're saying 2% of that there. What is 2% of that? 36 cents. Okay, and is that what we have in the back of our textbook? I see they did something slightly differently. So what they did is they just took the total sales, which makes sense because here we've actually calculated the monthly. Can you see that? Because for 30 days.
Yeah.
So we could have just made our lives easier because then if we do it monthly, eventually we're also going to need to convert back to annual at the end, which is fine. We live and we learn. Ah, can't be serious. We're here. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Nope. It's worth a shot though. Okay, so what do you get when you calculate that? Are you getting this 8 million? Yes. And then 2% of that. 174,000. Okay, so this is now coming off as discount granted. Okay, so obviously that is an expense because it's decreasing our sales. And you can literally see we were supposed to sell 8.7 million, but now we're discounting that by 2%. So that's the actual 2% that we're decreasing that 8.7 million. Okay, right. So ultimately, we then say, okay, we have a benefit here. We're going to decrease, let me do it like this. Pick green this time. We're going to decrease, right, our interest expenditure by 101,000. Sorry, it's right at the bottom of the screen. Didn't realize you guys can't really see that. We're going to decrease what I've highlighted in yellow, sorry, green, our interest expense by 101,028 Rand. But at the same time, we're also going to increase our expenses by way of the discount by 174,000, which means that ultimately the net effect is going to be a decrease in profit of 72,972 Rand. So now the question then arises, are we actually going to take up this credit policy? Definitely not. Okay, because we're now actually making less money. Okay, so it's better we just keep things the same. So you can see it doesn't always make sense to make, well, here we didn't necessarily make more sales, but to kind of relax your credit policy. But that's why we do these calculations, right? Then we go to the second part of the question. And here, they want us to calculate the net benefit or cost of the bulk discount offered by the supplier. Comment on your findings. And this is where I think, your statements really come in, because this is what we were doing all day long in financial management, especially financial management 2B, particularly. Okay, so first things first, they already told us that the cost of wedge X per annum was 525,000. Okay, so that was pretty straightforward, no problems there. So then we say, no, but we know there's also a cost in terms of ordering. And this is taking us back to the EOQ, okay, economic ordering quantity. Okay, so every time we order, we have an ordering cost. So here they said it's 145, yes, Rand every time we make an order. And how many times do we order? They said that we order 14,500 units per month. So in other words, we order 12 times a year. Can you see that? So here you're going to say times 12. So what now is our annual ordering cost? Our annual ordering cost. 1,740. Okay, right. Then we go to our holding cost. Okay, so we know that every time we make an order, it's going to be for 14,500 units, isn't it? Okay, and we know that the cost of holding these units is how many cents? I think 25, right? And we know the formula now for calculating your annual holding cost is the quantity or the size of the order times the cost of holding divided by 2. Divided by 2. So might as well do this, put this in brackets. And so you see, it's the small things like this, because mentally it's easy for you to say, annual holding cost must be the cost of holding times the number of units that we're holding. Okay? But then you will forget to divide the two because you haven't studied or mastered the formulas.
Why are you dividing by two? What's that just?
It's literally just a formula. Yeah. I can't logically explain that to you guys. I did think about it as well. But yeah, it's literally when I checked and verified the formula, I saw that that's literally what you do. You divide by two. So then our total cost of current inventory policy, okay, what we are currently on, is then you add all those amounts, and what do you guys get? 528, 553. Right. Now this is what we're then going to compare to our proposed policy. So first things first, cost of the wages per annum. We know that the cost is, they told us our total purchases is this, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, they said they're going to offer us a discount, isn't it? Of how much? 15%, 1.5%. Okay. So, so 100% minus 1.5, what do you get? 98.5. Okay. Or let me put that in decimal, 0. There we go. And what do we get when we times those two? In other words, what is our new cost per annum? 517,125. Okay. So that's now our cost after the discount. And we literally do the same thing now. We then say our revised ordering cost. But now, remember, we are ordering 29,000. Okay, so therefore we say, how many units would we have ordered had we 14, yeah, so times 12. This is how many units we would have ordered, right? And then we say this amount divided by 29,000 gives us 6 orders. Let me actually type this out. Okay, now that we know the number of orders, right? We're not going to order 12 times a year. This is what I'm trying to get at. We're going to say we've got 6 orders across the year. And each time we order, we pay 145 Rand. Am I correct? So then 6 times our 145 Rand, what is our total ordering cost? 870. Is it making sense? Okay. Then our holding cost. Now can you see we're not ordering at 14,500. We are now ordering at so let me just actually copy this formula and just put in the 29. And what does that give us? Okay, so when you add those numbers up, your new cost should be that what we have right there. And you can see that that's less than, right? So would we take this bulk discount or would we leave it? We'd take it, okay? We take it. It makes more sense for us to take it. Okay, and the actual benefit is then this 6,933. Okay, so that's the profit, the net benefit. Okay, so again, like we mentioned earlier, we would take this. Okay, then the other remaining questions are just theory questions. So here they're saying identify and discuss the factors that should be considered when determining optimal level of cash to be held by a company. Okay, so we need to make sure that we have money to transact. In other words, cover expenses, all right, cater to salaries and wages, and do whatever other day-to-day activities that we need to conduct in the business. But then we also need precautionary money, right, for events that we did not anticipate. Okay, we went through this also in the slides. And then speculative. Okay, we're saying there may be opportunities, whether in our industry or otherwise, for us to make money. So we need to just keep some money on the side for these potential investment opportunities where we can make some quick money. Because if you don't have the cash to take advantage of them, sorry. And then this one I did not recall seeing in the slides, the availability of finance, but it makes perfect sense when you think of it from a logical standpoint. We might not be able to raise funds. And if we can't raise funds, then there's no point in using all of our cash. So we need to set something aside for when, as and when we actually need some working capital, okay, or some sort of funding for whatever reasons. So that issue is what they're raising there. So then we go to the last thing that they ask us there, and they say, discuss the factors to be considered in formulating a trade receivables I think there should be management policy. Okay, so there, here, what you want to consider is obviously your credit analysis, and credit analysis involves the company's evaluation of its exposure to the risk of late payments and bad debts. Okay, so you need to do a credit analysis. In order to mitigate these risks, the company will assess the creditworthiness of potential customers before extending credit to them. Okay, so you need to do a background check, basically. Then credit control. After extending credit to customers, the company needs to monitor and manage the relationship with the customer, ensuring that the credit terms agreed on which the customer with the customer are adhered to. Okay, and then finally, receivable collection, where payments from customers are not made by cash transfer, they must be banked quickly. Okay, overdue accounts should be chased in order to determine the probability of recoverability of the debtor's balance and to determine whether further action is needed. Okay, so yeah, these are things you can all go and read, but then make sure that you are ready to unpack, explain them, because as we saw in test one, we don't know what type of theory questions they may bring. Okay, so I definitely think as you guys make some small notes here and there of key concepts, just take the time to just make one-liners because it's a lot of content. It's not like you can remember it all, and yeah, that will make it easier to study. And yeah, we should be able to kill it like we usually do. But otherwise, any questions, thoughts, concerns before we call it for today? Nothing at all. I'll be done. Yeah, I should be done on Monday. I should be done on Monday. Last I checked, I think it should actually be 5. But yeah, I mean, it's just 5. It's just 5. And it's calculations, so that makes life easier for me. So yeah, we should be good.